Lead Generation 36123, Session 2, Prospecting with Productivity Coach Matt Dusold.
Prospecting. Prospecting always scares people. Why does it scare people? We're going to figure it out. Better than videos. What if I said videos were part of prospecting? So let's just skip the whole welcome to the intro class and yada, yada, yada. Who's got the video they're going to share for us? Come on, not you. No, thank you. All right, let's see it. Are you willing to share with everybody?
Sure. It's the first take, so
That's it. This is it. This is version 1, so we can always update them, right? Can you send her that email so she has the full? Boom. Stephanie.
I don't know how everybody's gonna be able to see this.
Is it on the big screen?
There's a seat over here.
Hey, Steph, there's a seat over here. There's a seat over here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how'd your appointment go? Good? Did you guys get it?
I don't have to forget yet.
Keep going.
It's like
Oh, do you have it on your computer or no? It's on your phone still? All
They're
good.
gonna send it. You can share it with him on the app. If you have it on the app.
You want to text it to me? If you text it to me, I can play it. Actually, I don't know if I'll be able to play it. All right, maybe we'll come back to that. We'll figure that out later.
What is this desk key?
A desk key.
Oh, if you want an office, you have to have a specific production, right? Have the opportunity.
I thought if you wanted to rent it,
Oh, I thought you had to have a specific.
we could do a special.
Yeah, they can take your money. What do you want to
All right. Let's see. Oh, you got him?
Yes.
Perfect. Cool. Go ahead.
Oh, you wanted to-
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking they can see it, but that's okay. I'm not gonna see.
My name is Manny Gainfree with Keller, Arizona Realty. I was born and raised in Scottsdale, Arizona. I grew up in an entrepreneurship household with my parents who own several businesses. I've always been learning based. So as a young child, I found myself learning from my parents while helping them fix and flip homes, and also learning from my mom, who is a real estate broker in Arizona. From an early age, I had learned what it takes to own your own business and have a strong work ethic. I graduated from Grand Canyon University in 3 years. Go Lopes. I got into the real estate industry thinking it would be easy, and I was definitely wrong. It is one of the most challenging and competitive industries, especially here in Phoenix, Arizona. I definitely struggled when I first got into the business, and with great mentorship and coaching, I was able to learn and grow quickly. I channeled my competitive drive from playing sports as a young kid and compete for my clients every day to help them win. When I'm not working, you'll find me volunteering at a local animal shelter, taking high-intensity workout classes, or taking road trips in my Tesla and exploring our beautiful state with zero emissions.
Awesome. Good video. No, everybody else is looking at me like, nope, no more. That's awesome. Good job. Pretty cool though, right? Like it's simple, easy, not too hard, was it? Was it too hard? No.
That was like my first take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's take one, right? It's rule of 8. I love it. We're never gonna do anything perfect, so let's just do it, and then we'll improve on it every time, right? So awesome. Good work. So prospecting. Let's get into the what's up.
Are we all showing our video?
No, we won't all show videos.
Where are you posting these?
We're gonna talk to
For your
prospects.
website or?
Yeah, so personally for me, I would post it on my website as like a blog post. Just throw it up there, get some traction going there. Leave it on YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google, so they would love to promote you that way. I would put it on, I just said website, I'd put it on your Zillow profile. There's a little section in your Zillow profile on the bottom right-hand side that plays videos, so that's a good place to put your story right there. And I would send it out just as like a general follow-up. If you're sending a follow-up email to people you met at open houses or people you're meeting when you're prospecting, things like that, I'd shoot it out. Just, hey, here's a little bit more about me. You probably don't know much about me, but here I am. Just leave it at that. That will get a lot of commitment to you just because you're being different, you're being real, and people are going to know who you are. So that's what I would utilize it as. It's a 20-minute activity that will probably get you a lot of business. Cool?
Can you critique mine? Mine was a real quick one.
I will. I'll do it later.
Okay.
Cool?
All right.
All right. If we have time at the end, we'll play everybody's videos if you guys want. So obviously prospecting, a lot of you guys give me that look and you're like, uh-oh. So we're going to have to figure out a way to make prospecting more fun. But it's the lifeblood of everything you're doing in real estate, right? So we want to incorporate it with marketing, but if you don't have prospecting, it's just not going to work. And prospecting is the quickest and easiest way to build your business. So if we look on, where is it? My first page, I'm working backwards, so stay with me here. I'm going to read you this little paragraph from Bill Watson, who is actually a real estate agent here in Phoenix, but his prospecting efforts. So Bill Watson's perfect day, from 7 to 8, he called expired and canceled listings. 8 to 9, he did administrative work and did lead follow-up. 9 to 10, he called for sale by owners. 10 to 12, he knocked on doors. 12 to 1, he went to lunch. 1 to 2, he got back and called expired listings and returned phone calls. 2 to 3, he door knocked. After 3, he went on appointments and called expired listings again. And you guys are like, whoa, right? That's a lot. So do we all need to be Bill Watson? Maybe, maybe not, right? He sold 30 deals. He had 30 deals in his first year. When he didn't know anybody here, he was brand new to Phoenix. And he started to do 30 deals by that system. So it's very possible. If you don't have a database, that's why prospecting like that is beneficial, because it'll help build that database real quick, right? So your first sheet should be all about your ahas and what you're doing right now.
Where are you today?
Cool. Yep. Let's do that. I'll give you guys a few minutes. I would go over that and think about what activities you're doing now, and then we'll go over it kind of as a group to see if maybe something you guys aren't doing, somebody else is doing and having good success with. We'll kind of build off that today.
Is follow-up considered lead gen?
Yeah, so
Say I call an expired 2
prospecting.
months ago. and
Yeah,
then
so if you haven't met them. So the real kind of the way they're breaking it out is prospecting is working with people who we haven't met yet. Does that make sense?
So every time I call this Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's still
not
prospecting.
Creating a person to an
It
opportunity.
is. Well, it is, right? But if you've met them,
Uh-huh.
we're going to start talking about different techniques. So we're trying to
Okay.
really clump
So
this.
people
Yeah.
have not met, trying to get-
Yes. So it's people that we have not met yet. Yep. That's hard for me too because I want to talk about so much, and then I realize that like I have to kind of compartmentalize these things. So I'm trying to stay in my lane here. All right, who's got some good ideas for me? Anybody? Nobody? Yeah? Cold calling? What else you guys do for lead gen? Door knock. Yep.
I didn't do it in
Open house. Yep.
No,
Yeah,
sometimes when he does open house, because then when
Absolutely.
I met him and I call him and fuck with him, I've already met him, so it's that.
Yeah, but you have to do the activity to get them there, right?
That's right.
So,
Open house.
yep. Yep.
houses are so.
What do you guys realize from your prospecting efforts? Like any ahas? Like, so when you're doing them, is there certain things that click that have seemed to work or maybe don't work or what we can change?
Well, I think what I learned from you is don't just follow up with someone, follow up with them with a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, here's a property, let's see. And not just, it was nice to meet you, do you want to get together, and, whatever. Don't follow up with something.
Bring value.
Yeah.
Good foreshadowing. Yes. Bring value. Anybody else?
Practice. Right.
Practice. Yeah. Role plays are huge. Role plays, none of us like to do role plays. Like, I'll be honest, who does? But they're so valuable because it's practicing. There's nobody better to practice on than you guys that know you guys aren't going to mess it up, and then you go do the real thing, and it's easier to overcome those objections. So does anybody have anything within like the next 24 hours that they're going to dedicate to and do for the prospecting before we come back Friday? So say tomorrow, is there anything we're going to dedicate ourselves to for our prospecting efforts?
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
All door knock.
Yeah. Do you already have your areas planned out?
Door knock?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wingate Ranch.
Cool. That's a tough one to door knock in.
What do you mean?
They're just gated. They're little different people.
This girl, this lady on my team lives there. So
That
she
makes it
goes
easier.
in.
Cool. Do you have plans? Who are you cold calling? You said you're cold calling.
Expires, cancels.
Cool.
I called for sale by owners and expires this morning.
Cool. Anybody else? Anybody else going to commit to doing some prospecting the next couple of days? That's it? Everybody wants Colby's listings, and he's the only one that's prospecting? Nobody?
I'm gonna edit the video to have like Keller Williams on it.
Cool.
So send it out to people.
Yeah.
It's
It's a good idea.
I like that.
Definitely a
Yeah,
good idea.
wait.
We'll talk about that later. We can go over that later. Yep.
I did a property video yesterday, and I started emailing that out with some
Awesome.
people.
Prospecting.
And people one person who had told me she was an unrepresented buyer, basically stay away.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, let me talk to my husband about that. Can
Weird.
you see it? And when is it open? It was like, I don't open house yet. But I'd be happy to see it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, it's what prospecting does is it plays off marketing, kind of like I said, right? So it's why marketing is not a one-time event, which we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to try and hold myself. I love marketing, but we need to do prospecting in behind it, right? So it's not just doing a mailer. So when we're farming, we all like to do mailers all the time, but it's what are you doing with that mailer? So if you guys know the term omnipresence, has anybody heard of that term? Being everywhere, being seen everywhere. So if we're doing like an open house, we like to. Personally, if I'm farming an area, I'll put an open house sign in front of that farm, even if my open house is 2 miles down the road.
Andrew literally just talked about this. He puts his orphan sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're just getting your name. It's a free billboard, right? And so we want to use that free billboard in addition to our prospecting efforts. Because if you're calling and leaving messages, and all of a sudden they see your name on a sign, and then they're getting your physical mail, and then they see a Facebook message, you're real. Like you're really that neighborhood expert, right? So, but the calling and the prospecting is something that you guys got to bring to that. We can't just do marketing. If you're going to rely on marketing, that's one possible way, but you need a prospect in addition to it. Prospecting's free. It takes effort, but that's what's going to really drive up that database size and really bring it full circle.
Say that again about that open house. So you just stick it up in an area that's not.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're farming an area, and specifically like I would put it where I lived all the time, and I just stick one right there. Put it at like the entrance of the community. That way anybody that drives by has to see your name.
Even though
There's no
like, where's the
Yeah.
next sign?
Well, you put the open house sign towards it. It might be 2 miles away, but yeah.
Okay,
So
it's like 10 miles away.
yeah,
It's still,
use your judgment.
okay.
But I always tried to do them that were closer to me. So, but again, it's just
still fun.
yeah, it's effort. So I want to go back to what we talked about with value. So when you guys are calling for sale by owners or whoever, we're making cold calls. Somebody besides Colby, does anybody have a script that they use? Because obviously we don't like prospecting because I feel like a lot of people think they're bugging a seller or a buyer, right? And so one way we can get over that, it's a lot more comfortable to make a call for providing value. So how do you guys provide value when you're calling, or what is your script when you're making calls?
I was called, ask them when they're having an open house. I have buyers that would love to see their home, and I'd like to preview. They'll usually say, oh, I don't have an open house schedule, but do you want to have a look at it?
Yeah.
I've gotten in that way to look.
Okay. Cool.
And then,
You tell them you have buyers?
absolutely, I do have buyers.
Yeah. I would, and that's an important part. If you're going to use your buyers to make a call, please have a real buyer. There's so many.
No, but I mean, I do. I mean,
No, right.
I have people
I
who are
trust you.
shopping.
Yeah,
And
and
they're looking
it's
for a house. And this is, no, but the inventory, outside inventory is really tight. And, so we're looking to add to the inventory.
Yeah.
I like that.
so we're getting there. We're getting there. We're going to hold on. We're going to hit pause right here. Does anybody else have anything? No. I'll go for it.
Are we calling for sale by owners or expires?
Whatever.
When I call expires, I just call them and I say, I saw your home came off the market and I was curious to see what happened. And I know a lot of people, they say like when you're hiring the right agent to do the job.
Yeah.
I did that before and they get upset because sometimes their wife's the agent and they're like, so sorry. But yeah, I usually ask just what happened and what their plans are. And then they'll usually start telling me a story or they'll say, get off the phone. But but then you just transition.
Yeah.
So it's that's where the role play comes in.
Yep.
And you're able to have the objection handlers.
Yeah.
In your brain.
So what are you saying that this was done?
For sale by owners, I say, hi, this is Colby with the Vivo Village Group. I want to reach out to you. I saw your home is for sale by owner on Zillow. I want to ask you a few questions about the home. I was curious why you went the for sale by owner route as opposed to with an agent. And then they do like, well, you want to save the money. Or they're like, I've done it before. And I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. Well, what if I told you I could save you the money? I could save you money and get your home sold faster. I can net you more kind of thing. I know, a lot of times. For sale by owners are all follow up. It's hard to get like a listing appointment on the first call for sale by owner. But if you can go in and say, I have a lot of buyers in the area, then go in and say, it's a great house, and then you build a relationship.
Yep.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad about this for sale by owner.
So one way that I like to prospect to make easy calls for sale by owners is obviously it's a big one. It's a lot of people are calling on them. If we're doing open houses, we all do open houses. I think almost every single one of you I know do open houses here. It's the easiest prospecting call to make, right? We circle prospect around the open house and it's, hey, Mr. and Mrs., come look at my open house on Saturday, 1 to 4, whatever it may be. Simple prospecting call, simple way to add to your database. Every time you guys talk to those people, are you adding to your database?
Oh, I'm so.
Yeah. Okay.
Question.
So, yes.
Do you ever use Slide Broadcast?
No.
Have you never used it?
No.
I was thinking, I feel like Circle, it's like door knocking.
Mojo.
Prospecting.
I use Mojo.
Yeah, Mojo.
So, yeah.
I was just curious for Slide Broadcast because then it just sends a voice.
Yeah. It's a voicemail. Exactly.
But it's hard to. Yeah.
And so what about upcoming listings? Do you guys call areas when you have upcoming listings? Circle prospect before you list the property?
Yeah, like they come and say they have this thing.
Awesome. Yeah. Can you tell them about that?
Oh.
You're good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did it with Laura when she would have new listings coming. I would do a coming soon call around Circle Prospect, like 100 homes around the listing, like a week or so before, maybe 2 weeks before, talk about property. Hey, if you know of anyone who's looking into the area or wants to move into the area, or do you know of any sellers who are thinking about selling their home, or we would end it with, basically it was like a CMA, if you're interested in knowing what your home is worth, she called it something different, but it's basically a CMA, call us, blah, blah, blah. Then I would call again the week of the open house and say, hey, it's live on the market, we're doing an open house, it's gonna be this time, inviting all the neighbors out, come see me, blah, blah, blah. Then I would door knock the day of the open house, so it's like you're calling before it's listed, you're calling when you're doing the open house, and then you're door knocking, so it's like, just heard from you 3-4 times, fine, I will come, or whatever,
Well, that's right. It's 3 touches in a week, 10 days we'll call it, right? So I think that's really important, and you're already making it known that you guys know the area because you have a listing coming up. And maybe they have a friend that wants to move into the area. So all you're doing is helping them out, right? So a lot of value in there, and there's an easy call. I personally am a big fan when I make calls of being, I'm a kind of like a market nerd. And so I love to know the market. I love to know statistics. I'll tell a lot of young people, when you know the market really well, it brings older people, when you're trying to work them as a buyer, all of a sudden you know as much as them or know more than them. I feel we get stigmatized. So it's tough. And so if you can prove instantly and right away that you know exactly what's going on in today's marketplace, that you can be the right agent for them, right? So does anybody know how many active homes are on the market right now?
19,000.
Without under contracts. You were right, though. You're right. 15,906 out of this one. That number fluctuates. But does it sound like a lot to a lot of people? Yeah. Everybody's like, well, it's a lot. Is it a lot? No. 5-year low, right? It's a 5-year low. So I always lead with that, especially if you're calling a seller. Mr. Seller, there's only 15,906 homes on the market. And I think, well, that's a lot of homes. Like, actually, it's not. It's a 5-year low, right? Our months of supply right now, anybody know that number?
Of what?
Months of supply? Close. 1.7. We're at 1.7 months of supply right now. We're up about 7% in demand with that number. So that's kind of my lead-in call to a seller. Is maybe not FSBOs, but if it's just a general call and you don't have a purpose, lead with that. Lead with the fact that you know the market better than anybody. Yeah, Mr. Seller, there's 15,906 homes on the market. Our demand, months of supply, is up at 1.7 months. It's up 7% since last year. What better time to sell than now, right? Kind of leads you into that conversation. It's a little different than just calling and just being another agent that's knocking on their door or calling on their phone. You're setting yourself apart just a little bit, right? So one thing I want to go back to is Veronica mentioned at one of her first calls, referrals. Do you guys know anybody? You guys, it's the hardest thing to do for an agent. I struggled with it. It's so hard. You got to ask. Ask as many times as you possibly can. Diana Kokoska will say that she tried to ask 4 times in different ways on every single call. It's tough. I don't even know how she does it, so I have to figure that out. But
Are these just random prospecting calls?
every call.
Oh,
Every call. Do you know anybody else looking to buy or sell? Do you know anybody else looking to buy or sell? Our reasoning behind that is 40% of buyers are going to choose you. Something we kind of talked about before. We're going to choose you out of a referral base. And so if you can get that referral, it's huge. That's where a lot of people are getting that business, is a referral from a friend or something else. So if you can continue to ask that question on every call, you might just get it, right? And that's the easy business. Do you guys, besides the straight up asking, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell, does anybody else ask that question differently? No?
Happy to help.
Yeah. Who do you know? Yeah. Exactly. Open-ended questions. No, right. Open-ended questions are great. Instead of do you know, because then they're going to shut the door and say no. Happy to help. Who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell, right?
I ask sometimes, if they were happy with my service, who do they know that would also benefit from my service? Or,
Yep. I like that.
Or I will call the open house people that were the neighbors. So I'll call them and ask them, do you know of anyone interested in moving in?
Yes.
Or,
That's good.
Well, and if it's a good home, who doesn't want their next door neighbor to live in a good home that they're friends with, right? Like, we all want our friends to live close to us. So it goes back to the whole thing. It's all about approaching, connecting, and asking. The approach is the hardest part for us all, right? The connecting's not so bad. I feel like we all can talk to people. We all are talking to people right now. The asking, it's a little hard, right, to ask if they know somebody, but it's the approach. How do we get over that hump? Just make the call. Just do it, right? Do the door knock. That's the hardest part. But if you don't do that, you're not getting to the next steps. So we are, give me 1 second here. I just got to get my pages. We're going to do a little bit of a role play. Actually, one more thing. You guys should have a page with Ford. Should be 34. Do you guys have a page 34 in there?
Yeah.
Cool. Does anybody know what Ford stands for? Close. Yeah, dreams. Exactly. Dreams. Did everybody get that?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Family. Family and friends, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So once you bring that wall down on your intro and in your call, whether it's a market statistic, it's knowing an open house coming to the area, it's a listing coming to the area, whatever it might be, those 4 things are always good to talk about, right? Asking about work, I feel like everybody always asks about work. First thing that they say to you once you've seen somebody in a while, how's work, right? But family and friends, if they have kids, who doesn't love to brag about their kids? Like, I don't have kids, but like that's all I hear about people talking about, right? Immediately, oh, how are your kids? They'll talk to you forever. So recreation and dreams, a lot of times if we're talking to people, it might be at an event and you guys going to events with like-minded people, so that's probably an easy thing to talk about as well, right? The dreams, I mean, if you can get a dream out of there, I don't know. I never really talked about the dreams quite as much. It's a little different. That's why you don't even know the dream part, right? Yeah, we don't want it. So I guess if you know their dream, it's a great thing to talk about, right? Yeah, dreams and goals. Yeah, so it's, I guess it's just a tough one to approach, right? If you're calling somebody, you don't always ask them, like, what are your dreams? Like, tell me about your dreams. I have this awesome open house. What are your dreams? Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, maybe where would you want to live? Where's your ideal neighborhood? Yeah, right. And they're pre-qualified for 300 and want to live in Paradise Valley. But I'm kidding. So
Eventually, you can help them get into that home in between their step-ups.
that's right. We'll get you there in 2 more homes. Don't worry about it. I got you. So yeah, I always love to branch that conversation. And anytime we can always bring in the family and the work, that conversation is going to get longer and longer, and you guys are just going to know each other more and more. Page, you guys should have page 36 in there now. Do you have 36? Maybe I wrote the wrong page down.
What is on the page?
Should be role playing. Oh, I didn't give you page 36. Just kidding. Good joke. I have page 36. Oh, you have it. Yeah, no, you're good. So page 36, we're going to do a little bit of role playing. The reason I didn't print these out, if you guys see the scripts, they're not the greatest. So if we can do groups of 3, that would be awesome. I think we'll be all right if you guys go this way and then you come back. And then you guys just do you 3. If one of you guys wants to be agent and one wants to be a seller or somebody that we're prospecting for, and then the third one, just listen in. Let's critique each other a little bit and see what maybe you guys liked or could do better and how we can improve it. Does that work?
Sure.
Cool.
And what are you doing? You 3 for 3?
Whatever.
And you 3.
Alright.
Okay, so which
So,
one do you want to be?
Alright.
Wants to be agent first.
Was there buying a seller? And then I don't have to take care of it.
I'll be agent.
Yeah, I think you said.
Just what are we calling?
Make it up.
Buyers. Ring ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm looking for Mary Grace. This is Colby. I'm with the BBO Luxury Group with Keller Williams. I wanted to reach out to you because I saw that your home on 123 Main Street came off the market. And I was quite surprised, and I was curious to see what happened. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Well, what's your plan? Are you wanting to sell the house still?
Well, yeah, I want to sell it, but I wanted to sell, so I
Hi. How's it going?
I can understand that definitely. Now, are you interested in us bringing a buyer potentially?
Yeah, but my
Well, I don't know if we have a buyer right now. We have to go in and see the house first potentially. We can also show you a little bit more about our team because our team, we respect our clients obviously. We want them to do the way as little hassle as possible. So if you're not comfortable with open house, we're not going to do them, but we do recommend open house because it does increase the footprint of our listings as well as the open stock house size that we can buy as well. So
what are you gonna do different than the other two?
okay, well, that's exactly what I like to talk about. When you go to do your home.
Try to do that.
Are you available today around 5? You can stop by. I'll do another stop by. All right. I'll see you. Okay. He goes with me on like the expensive ones.
Yeah.
And then I just want to go with me on.
Yeah.
So like I have a $300,000 right now.
Yeah. For the listening. Yeah, that's really good.
I need to practice more. I used to do it like every day.
Sounds like you're very family
I'm so
oriented.
busy.
You might know of.
That's good.
Yeah. Alright. Who's up next?
Yeah, actually, I think a friend of mine are.
Inspired?
He was rude. I'm not sure lawyer. But yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
You know what? I'll give you an extra flyer. Maybe
Do you have any scripts?
In general, kind of what are we looking for?
Spies? It's never full call.
You guys ever get? Well, door knocking is like
I love
cold calling is easier. I would much rather try cold calling.
door knocking is so fun. People are so nice. Like a lot of the time,
Give him a cold call about.
Yeah. Give him one? I don't know what to say. I'm so like nervous.
hi, this is Colby and PBO Luxury Group. I was giving you a call because you're actually having an open house in your neighborhood. I was curious if you knew anybody that's in the neighborhood, or if you'd like to stop by, potentially see how the prices in the neighborhood are going up. Is there? It's a great time to sell. Right?
Actually, they do a cold call. One of the people that was lost deals for her.
Well, I was just
Actually, her daughter. I'm just thinking about what I could do.
That's good. That's good. Let's do that. Cold call.
I know.
I'm a potential buyer.
One of the questions were,
Hello.
Wait,
Hi.
what? Oh, with these?
Yeah.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, this is Colby.
Oh, yeah, how are you?
Doing great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's like an open door.
Yeah.
No, not yet. I don't know. Our realtor hasn't sent us so much.
It's not.
It does.
But if somebody somebody's talking.
Would you do that on a cold call?
I would do
Well, so here's what I just make see what's out there is that if you're knocking
Like
on
natural.
like,
I will show you realtor and the realtor just
like what am I doing? You threw that question in there. You just said
Right, that's the issue.
it's like you get, I was I'm doing market research, you know, like if the party follow up.
Especially if you're listing. If you're listing, you might as well show it.
So I guess.
I know. I never.
You don't.
No. I can tell you. They would literally, when you ask them to sign the paper, they're like, I'm gonna
Right.
okay, why let me get your information anyways?
I know.
Because you're going to my client's home, they have personal items in yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or who's your realtor? Who's your realtor? I'd love to connect with them.
So I didn't, so when I was thinking, you know, everyone
It'd be like, why are you here? I mean,
like, you know what I mean? And they walk next door and they're like, we really, and then they like walk around. Like he would even like look at you. He'd be like walking away from you and be like, for me, it would like he was standing there. If you said, hey, I need like. That's you were like,
A single book.
no, I don't think that like I was like, it was so cute. Really well timed. And he's like, we were like, oh, like, you have any comments?
No, I think that is a good point.
Like,
You're door knocking and you see something you can touch on.
I'm like,
That's
by the end of the day, the thing is, I think I went to see what happens. We ended up getting a back house
Without being
over,
super
yeah, cash.
Yeah, like,
No, you wouldn't give anything.
yeah, like,
I had these people in my open house once. It was the weirdest thing. They were in my open house. One the guy was wearing gloves. So it was like wearing gloves and scary. They literally walked in. I was like, hi. And I was like,
I had someone down my Facebook.
they were so weird. So I was trying to get them signing. I was trying to get them to sign in. They're like, oh, I'm not signing. And then I was like, you walk to the client's house, they have personal we just want to track who's in the house. We're not signing.
That's the other.
It's a good job.
And there's even something about the neighborhood that you think would be kind
Yeah, it's not fair. I think dogs would be like nice. And they might. That's really nice neighborhood. Yeah, they like apply.
I don't even know. What I usually do is I ask them, I try to figure out a way to send them. So I always have them actresses in the area on my laptop. That way, if they're not interested in that house, I say, well, okay, I actually have something else I'd like to see those. And I'll say, this sounds like this is awesome.
Yeah.
So this is
The second she would say, "Oh, thank God we're moving." That's a good one. Figure out what that was.
That's fantastic. They can
You got back though. You came back to it.
I honestly that's the one thing that really matters, like getting people to like you know, if somebody like the guys are like, you don't have issue with that, they'd be like, they want to have my grandchildren. And you know, like I was like, you know, it's fine, I can like write it every day, you can get all that info, but it's like
Yeah.
I'm not you do like I don't know.
It's mom.
Because I don't even think it's like a
We had I door knocked Woodgate Ranch last week. We only knocked like 15 doors, but like 8 people answered, and they were the nicest people ever.
Yeah, we used to
They didn't kick you out?
No.
Okay. We've gotten kicked out. Great Help will give you a golf cart back.
That's nice. I want to door knock because I like Wingate Ranch because it's like $1 million houses on top of it.
It's an awesome thing. And for families, like,
Oh my god. We just sold one, and so that's why I'm trying to knock on it. One just canceled yesterday, so I'm gonna go door knock after this.
nice.
And then
You good? You guys good?
listing.
You guys good over here?
Are you still active? Real estate.
Kind of.
Real estate.
I don't prospect hard. I have a couple things that are lingering from when I was, so I'll close those out. I have one in escrow right now and another one that will be coming, but yeah, no, we had 145 as a rental. Can we do this later? We're gonna do class, but I'll get you. Don't worry. You guys ready? We good? Who had a pretty good role play? Anybody learn anything? Yeah? Or you're like, I'm learning everything. Does anybody have like a good aha or something that they learned with a script from somebody else that they can maybe share with us? I know you guys learned something.
Well, yeah, when we were talking about books, and she saw books in my house and asked if I was a reader, and asked me what my favorite book was.
So if you guys do have the PDF file, in the bottom, the page I told you to turn to, that was like, we don't need to print this off. One of the questions is books. And in their role play, it caught them really off guard. But at the same time, if you do that, you're going to get remembered. So I don't know. It sounds quite weird, but I guess it worked well. Maybe there's a reason it's in there, right? Anybody else besides asking about books? What'd you guys talk about? Anything?
We did,
I will play
A script you like? Anything you like?
oh, he did a good job.
Yeah?
He's good. He seems natural.
Okay. Probably because he practices a lot.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What about you guys? You guys learn any scripts you like?
Fire scripts? Yeah.
Fire scripts?
Yeah.
What's your one? Huh?
She was helping me because she's better than me.
No, I'm
So.
All right.
Yeah,
What did we collaborate on?
Let's say you have a lead from a website,
Yeah.
from your website than
Yep.
how to like call them. So you
No.
you will look at a house in our website. And if you have any questions, you want to see it tomorrow at 9.
Uh-huh.
And then she said like, well, right now I'm just looking, and I'm like, well, it's a good opportunity to start comparing homes
Yeah.
in the area and make sure.
Yeah, no, it's to the area, that's what you're saying. It's
Cool.
all buyers start online,
Yep.
to say, it's different person, and then also to come from a place of service, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying, well, I'm helping you gain access to all the homes you're seeing online.
Sure.
Not calling to be annoying, so
Yep.
just keeping that in mind that you're helping, you're calling to actually give service.
Yeah. Definitely. How many of you guys preview in general? Thank you guys. Do you preview? You guys preview a lot?
Not a lot.
Not a lot? Okay.
I have.
Fair enough. So, kind of going back to prospecting, it's this might be another class, but one of my biggest things is I preview it all the time. But if you aren't getting somebody to get in touch with you, and Keller was just talking about it, I am huge on. I love the guess wrong. Does anybody like the guess wrong? So it's like, I don't know what you're looking for, but I'm going to take a guess, right? Because I'll always correct you. And so in an open house, my favorite thing is, oh, do you live on like 85th Street? They're like, no, I'm on 87th in the other house. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Take that mental note. Now you know exactly which house they live in, and you can look them up and get all the information, right? So I'm a big fan of the guess wrong. And if you guys don't have a prospect that's getting back to you, I guess wrong with a video. And so if you think you have a property that they might like, go video that property and send it to them. Because nobody else is sending them a video walkthrough, especially if they're out of towners. They have no way to see it. So you be that resource for them to see it. If they don't have a property, guess wrong. Guess wrong a lot. That's all I did. I just kept guessing wrong. And all of a sudden they'll start telling you, we'll take a video of the kitchen, curb appeal, kitchen, master bath, and backyard. The 4 things that are biggest in selling a home, right? And just keep guessing wrong. What about this? What about this kitchen? What about this kitchen? They'll correct you. They'll have no problem correcting you. No, I don't like that kitchen. I don't like white. I need the okay. No, I don't like that backyard, but I need mountain views. And all of a sudden, now we're like, okay, I need the dark kitchen. I need mountain views. And now you know what they need. It's your buyer, right? So if you're ever prospecting and you run against the wall, I love the guess wrong, and I love videos. Both of those things together, they'll get you a response. Carol, you said it got you a response?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a buyer that was looking for a home that told me she was an unrepresented buyer and they didn't want to use a real estate agent. And I had asked her why, because the seller pays, nothing, it's no skin out of her pocket, or off her back. Anyway, I sent her a video yesterday of a home that I previewed that, and that's what she was looking at one of my open houses, and she reached back out to me. I said, let me talk to my husband. Can we come to the open house? And I said, well, it's not an open house, but I'd be happy to set up a time for you to view the home, take you on a show to you. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So that was good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she was, pushing me away. It's
I had a couple later too, maybe it's the same one, like, no, I'm representing myself. I'm like,
fine.
okay,
Yeah.
like, why? But, I mean, I'm Mexican. They were from a culture
Yeah.
different from the US.
Yeah.
So they think, and it might be turning away, that at first I tried, kind of like she said yes, but then she backed out, like when I called her back again, that no, we want to represent ourselves. And thinking as Mexican too, people think that there's not going to be another more person that they have to split the commission.
Uh-huh.
So at the time they make an offer, the commission is a little flexible. So if they make the offer, she just said, if you have a listing, call me, I want to see it. But if it's not your listing, no. So then there's like more.
So they think there's more price
So-
leeway
Well,
because they're not going to have
If
to
you
pay.
make an offer,
to be-
let's say if you make an offer directly with the listing agent. Now, correct me if I'm wrong because I'm very.
Mhm.
Then the listing agent and they offer less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the listing agent to make that deal work might say, okay, I'll reduce my commission to 5%.
We did that.
Yeah, and that happens. It's but the reality in it is
I mean, it's not always going to happen, of course.
no,
but
yeah.
in
I mean,
their
any
minds,
listing agent, if they
that's-
bring the buyer, they're going to still try and get their 6% or their 5%, right? So to me, she's saying, if you have a listing, I want to see it, right? Because you're going to probably call it before it's on the market. A lot of things what's happening with buyers right now is they think they can do our jobs just as well as we can. So it's how do we be different? Because they have Zillow, they have our KW app, they have Trulia, they have everything.
And she said,
So-
the attorney, you know, someone
Yeah,
in the
so
family
she's
was an
saying, why do I
attorney.
need you to?
I'm like, are you gonna hire
This
an
is the one that
attorney?
I was dealing with.
And I'm like,
She was like, she had an attorney, and I was
so
like,
you're
well,
no attorney.
so I was telling her,
No,
you're
she's
not,
saying
you're
her.
not paying, the one I was dealing with, I said, you're not paying, nothing, you don't pay me anything, the seller
Yeah,
pays.
that's what I told her.
And, yeah.
So they're
It's the same
thinking
person.
that they can do their job just as well as us. So do it better. They can't get into these homes without you.
No, I know, but that's why we're gonna go.
So if you start going into the homes
It's gonna
for
go
them,
slowly, but-
yeah, so start going into the homes for them and provide that value.
So it just
See
so
what
happened
happens.
yesterday, this home I went into that I took a video of fit several people's criteria. It was a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, or whatever, and I could just email it out to everybody. Gave it to him too. Said, he's really good. Anyway, so it's,
You should also preview posts. I'm not new, I've been doing this for years, but I'm on commercial.
I love it.
On commercial, but I do have to tell you, I was a buyer's agent for
Yep.
a year and a half with another office of this same firm.
Yep.
In Mason. And I would go and preview on every one of them.
Cool.
And not to get weird, but I have never been sick to my stomach in 40 years. I'm just one of those people. I went to a home, it was a bank-owned home. And I went to look at it, and when I opened the door, before my head got in 6 inches, I turned around and vomited because the smell was so bad. And I called up the agent, and I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, well, yeah, it smells pretty bad, doesn't it? I said, literally, it was wild. I don't know what it was, I literally closed the door. But imagine if you were opening the door and letting a client walk into that. You think they would ever again work with you? So please, go take a look. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happened to me, and I got sick to my stomach. Couldn't help it, it was involuntary.
You're absolutely right.
that's scary.
That's the benefit of previewing right there is, nobody's showing the power lines in the backyard. Nobody's saying the smell. If there's pets and people have allergies, no one's letting you know of that. So there's just a lot of benefits. All right, jumping back here. So we talked about calling, right? We kind of talked about visiting with door knocking. I don't think door knocking you need to explain too much. I know some of you guys did door knocking scripts. Same thing as calling, right? Just do it around your open houses or do it around your farm area. Bring value, though. It's the same exact thing. The next thing is groups. Do any of you guys go to networking groups, or are you guys a part of groups? You are? Which groups? If you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, I don't have a networking group that I've gone to here,
Uh-huh.
but I have a church group that I go to.
Cool.
Do that once a week.
Yeah.
And
Obviously, it's not your main focus of business, but has it
no,
helped you at all?
But actually, there's been a couple people in the group that are like, "Oh, you're a real estate.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you."
Cool.
Like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
And there's been just with what they do. There's contractors, there's a teacher, so it's good resources for me, even though they might not be the person that needs business. But it is on the list
Cool.
to get involved with.
Yeah,
Doesn't Chamber of Commerce have a group?
that's exactly it. That's one of them. Yeah, so Chamber of Commerce, Rotary clubs. A big one, I'm sure a lot of you guys live in HOAs, right? Get on those boards because you'd be surprised. A lot of times people start asking their HOA, who should we sell with? Be that person, right? Be that person that they want to sell with. So personally, I can't preach that one too hard because I was never the best at being part of groups, but I'd absolutely say if you're part of groups, whether it's church or just whatever you're interested in, right? Get out there and be interested. I had a buddy in Chicago who was part of our group, and he was a big CrossFit. He was a big CrossFit guy. He ran his business out of the gym. All the people in that gym were just going to him for his business. So
not just business.
correct. Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So
Yeah.
I just
You've been going to different groups?
Yes, I signed my son up for the largest Scouts one
Okay.
in the area, and then I
Using your
volunteered
kids.
to lead.
I love it.
And then the church we go to was pretty big, and then I was like, you know what, I used to perform, so I auditioned for the band so I could be up in front of everyone, and then I nailed it. So then I'll be doing that and meeting people. But that's not the only reason I do it.
Yeah, right.
Because I've only been here 4 months, so I need to meet.
Get involved.
people.
Yeah.
That's putting myself out there.
For sure.
Laying a foundation.
Is anybody else part of any other groups? Is there any other groups out there?
Now, one of the big things is these online groups, for example. I
Agreed.
in Monte Vista,
Oh, yeah.
at Cape Creek, 4,000 members on this group.
Like a Facebook group thing or something?
Facebook group.
Yeah.
Guess who set it up? Realtor and client.
Absolutely.
So they're the ones who decide.
Yeah,
when you
go
get in and
Gilbert.
out, they're always
Yeah.
letting you know what's available, but it's not 7,000 homes in the area. So, people start using big triple their rooms.
Go Gilbert has like 65,000 members, and the creator was a real estate agent. It's crazy.
Okay.
And they can promote themselves.
Yeah,
So
it's-
smart.
Yeah.
There's
you
someone
can't
in the
do that
Fox
for
like
any
that,
other
and he
real
does
estate.
it really good now.
Wow.
Obviously, country clubs or golf courses, if you guys do golf or a good part of those things, those are huge. I found there's one in here that's in the notes. It's kind of interesting because I'm going through it right now. But they say target wedding planners because wedding planners always know couples getting married and are probably going to buy a home. Don't steal my wedding planner. And then obviously the others, accountants, CPAs, divorce attorneys, those whole things. They get flooded. I've never seen wedding planners mentioned though, so I thought that one was interesting. I thought you had something. No.
The divorce attorney.
Well, I know, and it's real though.
I'm sure,
It's
yeah,
real.
the president.
And if you talk about like probate and death,
Yeah.
I had a connection in Chicago with our county, and the probate lady would literally just send me an email, be like, "Go check out this home," and then the next week it'd be listed. So if you can get in with a county probate or someone that does that,
Same with divorce attorney. Divorce attorney, a big one.
yeah, it's easy.
There's about 75% of them can sell a home.
Right. It's crazy. So they start talking about prospecting events. I kind of grouped this into something different, but they're putting it in here, so I'm going to put it in here. One of my favorite prospecting events that I've seen yield great success for some of my people I've worked with, especially at this time of the year, is a pumpkin patch. Has anybody thought about doing events like that? We're getting to the time when it's actually the perfect time to start thinking about that. For instance, put a mailer out to your community about a month early, Facebook stuff, a couple weeks out, door knock it. We had a person who did this pumpkin patch, she put the pumpkin patch on. It probably cost her about, I think, $400 to $500 total for the event to get all the pumpkins, do all the marketing, yada, yada, yada. She said she had about 60 people come through, and directly because of it, she had, I don't know if there's 2 or 3 sales. So that $500, pretty well spent, right? And now everybody in that neighborhood knows who she is, and if they didn't buy or sell, they at least know Elise is the person. So I would think about doing events like that if you can. Put them around a holiday. It's always easy. If you live in an area with kids, it's easy, right? Cater to the kids. Everybody loves their kids, I hope. So, cool. So you should have a couple activities in there. And I'm sorry, I skip around. I am not a teacher. I do not like to just stand up here and preach. If you haven't seen that. You guys should have a couple activities on certain pages where it talks about how much time you guys are going to dedicate to prospecting or different avenues to prospecting. It very well might be page 68. One of the last ones. Cool. Let's go through there and fill that out. If you guys want to do 68, and then we can come back and do 71 with it. 71 dives into it a little bit more. It's going to ask you how many calls.
I was driving earlier today. It was everything I touch turns to sold.
Yep.
That's cool. I took a picture of it. This one.
Good for him.
Well, no, it's already taken. But, sorry.
Their last name didn't have the word sold in it, though.
Oh,
So it's not as good.
far out.
Well, did you guys all time block?
Yep.
You tried? What's up?
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, you do now. I'm saying, did you for the next week now? You guys all have a plan? Have you laid out your plan for the next week? I try. Yeah, it's not easy. That is for sure. So do you guys have a time when you prospect the most? Does anybody have like a specific time when they like to prospect?
8 to 11 in the morning.
Anybody else? No. So yeah, mornings are typically best. They typically say 8 to 11 is best. If you are not going to do it in the morning, I would recommend doing it at night, 5 to 7. I treat prospecting very much like I treat the gym. I go to the gym first thing in the morning. I get back and I just made my calls until I was done. It's a hard thing to do. It's probably the hardest thing in our business to do that will make you the absolute most amount of money. So if you guys can just get it done in the morning, you're gonna feel a whole lot better about yourself. My thing was if I got to 11 o'clock and I worked out and prospected, I could do nothing the rest of the day and I'd still feel like I accomplished something, even though I was really lazy for pretty much a whole day, right? So really work on your time blocking and just getting those activities done in the morning. I would suggest you guys do accountability. So the people you guys are with right now, check in on each other over this next week and let's hold each other accountable. I was at MegaCam, and this lady's sitting next to me. She looked at me. She said, I got to do this by next week. I said, okay. She's like, that means you got to call me next week and make sure I did it. I'm like, all right, here we go. So I'm calling, I don't even remember her name, but it's in my calendar. So I'm calling her to make sure she did it. Take next to you. You two, just pair up. Make sure you guys are holding each other accountable throughout this because it's hard to do.
Let's make a big group chat.
We can make a group chat.
With everybody in this.
I just want to share something. I've been doing this for about 10 years, not very successful as many I've seen, but I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of very successful people. I'd left for a year to remember Marcus and Militap, which is about a $28 billion company.
Yeah.
And all I can tell you is one of the most important things, I've been in 100 of these classes, 7 different types of ways from Sunday. The most important thing you can learn is make the calls.
Yep.
Make the calls. And I will give you an example. I'm not going to pat these people on the back. We have 46 agents down at the corner of Camelback and 24.
Yeah.
And they kept track on our phones of every phone call you make because if you don't make the phone calls, you don't make the money, you don't get the appointments, you don't make the income. Some of these people, and I'm not kidding about these numbers, if I've been doing it for 20, 25 years, they're making $27 to $30 million in commission a year themselves. They're making 1,000 phone calls.
Yeah.
And now they're making 1,000 phone calls because they've got so much business going. Literally, they're doing it. Now, the top 3 or 4, and they list how many phone calls you've made. And if you're not making a certain number, they're all over you. You have scripts, you learn them, you do it, and it's not easy. That's my biggest problem. That's why I'm not very successful. But I can tell you how to be successful. If you get up and start beginning the phone book and go 110 miles an hour for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, you will be worth millions.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. If you just use the whole concept of making the phone call. And if somebody says, stress me, you go, I'm very sorry, thank you. Next. And it's all a matter of getting it down and not taking it personally. That's not easy to do, but some of these people are making a fortune.
Yep.
I mean, and even in residential real estate, you look at them, they get on the phone, you see them on the videos on KW, they make the calls, they've got people doing it for them, and they're selling 400, 500, 600 homes a year.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You got to be in the game to play. You got to swing, and you can
That's
miss and miss. And you start getting the home runs.
You're absolutely right. No, you're good. You're right. You're 100% right. And it's the hard thing about time blocking and actually committing to calls. If you can tune everything out and just make calls for those couple hours, 3 hours, whatever it might be, it's such a huge benefit. And I'm bad on it. You people that communicate with me a lot know I'll email you back within like 5 minutes usually. It's hard for me to tune everything out. It's just the way I am. But if you truly can and just dedicate yourself to that power 2 hour, you're gonna be way further ahead than where you are today. So
Don't take it personally. Just don't take it.
that's right. Yeah.
We're all afraid of somebody yelling at us.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about it.
So I partner up. Seriously, partner up. See how many calls we're supposed to be making. Who has a goal to make however many calls tomorrow, and check with them on Friday. Let's see how many calls they make.
We should have
accountable.
We should have.
Oh yeah, you want a group?
What?
You want a group?
No, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying we should do contacts, not calls. Because half the time you're calling people.
I'm fine.
It's both on there.
There's both on there.
There's
Oh.
calls and make
I'm sorry, I haven't even looked.
Yeah.
What are your goals, Kobe?
My goal?
Yeah.
I need to do like 20 a day, 20
Okay, is that your goal?
contacts.
Contact.
I need to talk to 20 people, new people.
That's solid.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like,
Anybody else have a goal? 20's a lot. I'll be honest with you guys. 20's a lot. So if you're looking
I
at
have a
it, well,
bet with Andrew. I have to sell 40 houses this year, or I have to just pay him 10 grand. So I get 10 grand though if I do it. So when I do it,
there you go.
when I do it,
Right. If you sell 40 homes, you won't care about that.
yeah.
And if you sell 39, you're not going to care about the 10 years.
No, we'll see.
Cool.
This year, like 2018, or like 12 months?
12-month period since 2 months ago.
Okay.
So my first 12 months in real estate.
All right.
Far out. It's a lot of homes.
You got to do it.
Do it.
Cool. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope it was all right. I hope it was somewhat educational. please commit to what you guys just wrote down? Can you guys do that? Can you make that one single commitment? Yeah.
Well,
This video was brought to you by KWAZ TV.